Hello, I'm Paul Edwards, and welcome to this week's episode of a new thing bringing to you guys the Age of Hero. Over to my colleagues there.
Hello, guys. I want to thank everyone for watching, or anyone for watching, depending on how many people are out there. My name's Tom, and hopefully, sort of every week we'll be seeing you to talk about all sort of different bits and bobs in the world of films, TVs, comics, and whatnot. So hopefully you'll stick around and things will get better as we progress.
Hi everyone, I'm Charlie. Yeah, pretty much what Tom said. I hope everyone enjoys what we do, and hopefully we can do this for a little bit longer.
Hi guys, this is Danny. Nice to meet you all. Hope you enjoy the show. It's all going to be things DC, Marvel, but obviously this week we're kicking off. We want to restore, release. Let's bring back that Snyder cut. Let's continue on from it. We're all here for you, Snyder, and let's just crack on with the show.
Hi guys, I'm Kyle. Big fan of comics, Marvel, DC, and yeah, just looking forward to giving you guys something we can all share and talk about.
Awesome. So, if everyone's watching, hopefully it's all up and we've seen Zack Snyders Justice League, the epic 4-hour event. I know we all have. What's excited you all to now it's here?
Oh, everything. Can I just say how good it is as well to watch a Justice League movie without having an opening Superman CGI meltdown? That's just awesome. I don't know about you guys, but like watching a film, all I was looking at, I wasn't even listening to the dialogue. I was just like, his face looks weird. I just couldn't get it out of my head for like the first 10 minutes. I was just thinking, that's such an unnecessary scene. So I'm just really happy that that's gone.
Yeah, it was so bad. Like seeing how bad the whole moustache thing was, and like you said, it was a completely unnecessary scene as well. To watch Zack Snyder's one and to see like that the different perspective of seeing Superman die, like that was just so good.
I think I'd add. Go on, Tom.
Yes, I was just saying. I think back then in 2017, when that first one came out, you can be so excited for something and look forward to it so much that afterwards you can convince yourself that what you've just seen is like a masterpiece. And yet I can still remember coming out, and I saw it with Charlie in 2017, and neither of us were like that. We just come out and was like, that was absolute toilet. Like I don't know what they've done to his face, but to make it the first thing you see when the film comes on just puts you on a downer for the rest of the film. And now, 4 years later, you can realise that the parts of that were half decent were the stuff that Zack Snyder shot anyway, and they kept. There was a handful of things in that original one that was worth watching that you could say, oh, hang on a minute, that looked quite decent. I don't know what's happened there, but compared to the rest of the film, that's good. And you watch this 4-hour version now, and you can see that it's the stuff that they kept from him.
Yeah, I think it's the same as everyone. I think growing up, seeing, the likes of Batman and Superman and getting all excited to see them team up with a Flash, with a Wonder Woman, with an Aquaman, and you see in Joss Whedon's version just absolutely just tore it apart. It was heartbreaking to see. But then you sit there and watch the Snyder version and you're like, wow, the critics would have been in uproar in a good way in 2017 if that had been the one that would have been released, not the Joss Whedon one. And as I said at the beginning, I think it set it up nicely. I personally think that they will continue with it. I don't think they can bring back the characters the way they have and not continue with it. Especially looking at like Ben Affleck in that last scene with the Martian Manhunter. Why include that if personally I think you're gonna do more, Ben. You're gonna do more for us. And same as Tommy, same as Charlie, same as Kyle, same as Paul. We need more Henry Cavill as Superman. He's the boy.
100%.
Well, yeah, man. I don't see how you can waste that potential. Like his casting is so good. Like literally every single character he casts perfect, and outside of the box as well. When you think about people like Jason Momoa for Aquaman,
that's what I was going to say. When you see the casting of Jason Momoa, like to think of him as Aquaman at the time when he was cast, you're like really this guy, and then like you get that picture of him where he's standing there with the Unite the Seven holding the trident and stuff, and you're just like, oh my god, like this is what Aquaman should be. It's crazy.
He was
Making him cool
badass.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've all been
Definitely.
cast well, and it's all come from Zack. Like, I know we're still going to get the Flash film, solo film. Wonder Woman's got another one coming.
Why do you have to
Zack
touch this
certainly
door
knows how
every
to
time?
cast these people in these
No,
roles.
it's not
heavily.
okay.
I really hope we do get to see him back sooner than later as well as Superman, and not just for some little cameo in whatever.
Trying to fix the door.
He deserves his own film, like right now. He deserves a sequel to Man of Steel.
Yeah, the only follow-up we get of him is like a 5 or 10 minutes appearing in someone else's film. It's not doing justice to him as how good he is as Superman or the character. It's just it would just be doing a disservice to everyone so far that's campaigned to have the Snyderverse continued. And considering what the feedback was for the original one, I mean, you've got to remember that apparently someone sat in that room, watched that film, and said it was unwatchable, and decided to come in and butcher 80% of it. If I was that bad at my job, I would have lost it by now. So I can't see how those people, and apparently it's the same people that they try to put a stop to the Joker when it come out, and then it goes and makes over $1 billion. I just can't wrap my head around it.
It's
I can see the fault they were going with Joss
keep their
Whedon.
jobs.
Yeah, I
Carl.
agree with you, Kyle. Like I can, you know, like, and Danny will attest to that because we went to school together. We were like big Joss Whedon fans. Like Buffy, for me, as growing up, like the guy was kind of like a bit of a god, and then all of a sudden he goes on and he's doing Buffy, he's doing Angel, and then he knocks out the first two Avengers, and you're like, oh, okay, if he's coming on, like he's bound to do a half decent job. But it's like when you watch it now, it's like he's made some of the decisions to make the film bad on purpose. Like, I can't understand some of the choices. Like everyone kept coming up with an excuse of, we had to get the film down to 2 hours, and that's fine if all he was doing was cutting stuff out. But he was refilming stuff worse than what it was. Like he was shooting the same scene, changing the dialogue, and it was awful. So that's not being done to change time.
And adding the Russian family, etc. Just some of these scenes are completely unnecessary.
Yeah.
Like you look at compared those two scenes that with the Flash with the Russian family, with no disrespect to them at all, but from that scene to then the Flash scene that we got where he's time traveling, you just think, well, how have you got from that to that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a Superman's my favorite character, but the Flash scene is my favorite scene in the film. And to think about originally, he literally spent that whole fight pushing a truck with like 4 people in the back. It's just baffling. I just can't understand how that they would watch what they had and then go, no, let's get him pushing that family in the truck. He was just a joke character, and it's pretty much.
They made him such a stupid character. There was no need for it.
And I think
I'm excited to see Flash.
Yeah, 100%.
Like this film's made me really want to see Ezra Miller.
Yeah.
Like the whole scenes he was in, I think he really did steal a lot of that show. Like the whole Iris West scene as well. I just think it made me really excited to see Ezra Miller's Flash. It's done him a good service.
Yeah, it's a shame all the stuff surrounding it with like Ray Fisher, and who was originally going to be in it, and now he's been cut out. It just seems to have put a black cloud over the film. Like it seems to have tarnished it a little bit. But I'm hoping that after everything that happened in the Snyder Cut, everything you've done, everything you can see what the character can do. I'm hoping they're not just going to use it as a way of resetting the timeline so they can get rid of.
That's the rumour going around, isn't it? That they're planning to do that. But I same as you, what you just both said. I think the fact that Ray Fisher as Cyborg, I thought he was excellent in the Snyder Cut. I thought his whole background story being explored a lot more. You actually got to relate more to the character than what you did in the 2017 version. Same as what Kyle said. Flash, I thought was brilliant. But then I've also got to bring up my boy Ben. He was brilliant yet again. Give me more Affleck in that universe, especially that nightmare scene with him and Joker and Deathstroke. You need to see more of that. Not saying I'm not looking forward to Robert Pattinson one, but I'd love to see more of Ben Affleck's Batman.
I think it's because in that Joss Whedon one, he didn't really do anything. Do you know what I mean? Like, whereas in this one, he was doing Batman shit.
Yeah, like there's so many like little bits of like dialogue that made him sound so stupid in it. Like, you know, the whole when Superman comes back and he's like, oh, something's definitely bleeding. It's just such a stupid scene. Like in Zack Snyder's one, he's like facing him down. He's facing down Superman while the geezer's throwing the rest of the Justice League around, and you're like, fuck, that's Batman.
Yeah, I just don't
100%
think
Charlie,
you get a lot of
100%.
these. You get a lot of these people complaining that Zack Snyder doesn't know Superman, or he doesn't know the character, or he doesn't understand the character, or he doesn't like the character. But when you see what he's done with him, even just in Justice League alone, when you forget Batman v Superman or Man of Steel, he is constantly showing how powerful the character is. Not just in the fact that he literally takes down the whole Justice League on his own; they don't even get close to him. But the fact that Steppenwolf, the rest of the people from Apocalypse won't come until they know that he's not there.
Yeah, we're going to read.
Then you get to the end, you know, they're kind of holding their own. But then as soon as he turns up, even they're like, oh, it's all right now. Do you know what I mean? It's game over for Steppenwolf and the rest of them. And then they have that tiny little bit of dark side, kind of focusing on Superman through the boom tube right at the end. Like he sees the
more
whole
dark side.
Oh, so good. I mean, in some respects, obviously, the stuff that happened with Snyder and the fact that he had to step away is obviously like it's heartbreaking in that. But in terms of the film on its own, it probably worked out better because you was never going to get 4 hours of Justice League before. Yeah. Even if they let him do what he wanted to do, they was going to make him, you know, at most you might have got 2.5 hours if you were lucky.
Yeah, definitely. In the long run, it's definitely worked out better for the fans. Like you said, they would never have released a 4-hour film into the cinemas. Like it would have been bad enough for them to release like a 2.5-hour film. So for them to let him have the 4 hours straight to HBO Max, like it's, the fact that we've got it is brilliant. Like you said earlier, growing up being a comic book fan and then being able to see Superman, Batman, Flash, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Cyborg, getting to see them all together. Like that shot towards the end of the film where they're all standing together at the top and like Superman lifts Batman out of the ground and they all stand there. Seeing that is like that's a proper comic book splash page on a screen. Like it's brilliant.
Yeah,
I agree there, and I think not only is it all about revenue, this one was done for the fans. It was the rally around the world. It was merchandise. It was money for charity. All that helped this get pushed along the last 4 years or whatever it's been. I'm wondering now if the studios or whatever format they'd like to go off on will listen and see there is some. It's all about money at the end of the day. They're going to see some stuff here like this stuff's going to sell. Let's start making it. Look at the fans. They want to see this nightmare scene. I'd love the nightmare scene as a series. They could do that easily. Stuff like that. And I just think we are in the day and the age of heroes, that as we say we are. Anything's possible now. So I don't disbelieve anything won't come from this. But I really think someone is listening and something's going to happen. I hope so.
It's not even the heroes. You've got to take Steppenwolf into account. Like they completely just absolutely changed everything. He had a reason to be there. He was brilliant. Like Steppenwolf, that scene where Darkseid said, like, you still owe me however many worlds. Like his eyes, he looked terrified. He looked scared. Like there's actual depth to the character rather than just being a big bad for no reason.
I think as well, like Kieran Hines, like the actor who played him, I'm pretty sure he was like the first person who came out before all of this and said, like the Joss Whedon film, he was like, that's not the film that I shot. So like he knows as well how much better this version of Steppenwolf is. Like when you compare the two of them as well, like the CGI, how they changed the way he looked, you think like why they do that? They made him like some weird little old man when you think he's an absolute fucking badass in Zack Snyder's one. It's a real scary geezer. Like he's jumps in amongst all the Amazons and he's absolutely shot to pieces with arrows. And that bit where he just kind of flexes and all the arrows snap off of him and he launches a horse. And you're like, what?
That scene is amazing. The scene with the Amazons is that was hacked to pieces in the original one, and this one just showed like literally like how powerful they are. Like they've been around for centuries and whatnot, or thousands of years, and they're still using bows and arrows. But pretty much they gave him a good run.
Yeah,
I think that bit as well with the Amazons, where he turns up and he says whatever the line is, something about I'll feed on your fear.
Show me your fear.
And Hippolyta shouts out, "Show him your fear."
No fear.
That's so good. That's such a good line.
And they're all
Amazing.
trained. They've been on the island forever. They're all trained. Probably not got
Yeah.
access to weapons because they don't go anywhere else. Just that whole island.
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved it.
I like that bit as well when they show the other Amazons sort of working elsewhere, like they must be on the night shift or something like that. Like they've just turned around and looked over and they're like, "Oh shit, what is going on over there?"
Yeah.
Well, that was brilliant because it also expands the island. You can see it's just they're not all just standing around in their armor, guarding a box or strolling around an island. There was work to be done on the island. As Kyle was saying with Steppenwolf as well, like that scene where he says about 50,000 worlds, like you almost feel sorry for him. Like you look at him and you're like, oh, this poor guy, like he's really got to put a shift in here because he's made a couple of mistakes in his time.
But not just, I wasn't going to say just Steppenwolf, the potential of the Injustice Society as well, that got hinted at massively. Lex, and then obviously as previously mentioned, Deathstroke at the end, especially him finding out when he finds out Batman's identity being Bruce. That was just incredible, especially as you then read what potentially the second one did entail with, characters like Black Manta being brought in from Aquaman, the Riddler from potentially the Netflix one.
The bit when they released like what would have been for Justice League 2 and 3, and you hear how Lex would have like manipulated all the villains and how he would have used the Riddler because of how like clever he is with all these riddles and stuff. Getting him to solve the anti-life equation would have been like that's such a stroke of genius for Lex to be like kind of big up the Riddler and be like, look, you're the only one clever enough to do this, and just kind of use him as a pawn to get his way through. That's so good. It's so clever, I think, to do that.
Yeah, Harry's had to think that far ahead, and after this film, the other stuff. This amazes me with writing. How they do all this, and when like some of the TV shows when they put it all together and have to every other character involved, then the writing that must go on for that and the plan. This is stuff that's going to go through into other films and things like this.
The planning must have gone on for ages because in that plan for Justice League 2, like he maps out like not only what's going to happen in his film, but the fact that Captain Cold was going to be in the Flash film, and then the Riddler was going to be in the Batman film, and Black Manta was going to be in the Aquaman film, and to not only plan your film, but to kind of lay a blueprint for an entire universe whilst writing your film. It just takes. Like,
I mean, you're dropping nuggets of information that are not gonna play out or come to fruition for years down the line, and that's. I mean, he must have been obviously he was doing that stuff while either writing or making BVS, planning what's going to happen. Right, so we'll have this character's going to be in this film, this character's going to be in this film, and then that will play out in Justice League 2 or 3. It's just mad, and that's one of the things that really pissed me off with people's complaints about some of the films. Like, I don't mind if people dislike the films. Everyone's got different tastes, but it's for instance, they were criticizing characters like Jonathan Kent in Man of Steel for saying things like, when he says, "What should I do? Let him die," and he's like, "Maybe." And they're saying Jonathan Kent shouldn't be like that. But then if you and the same with Superman, or he's not Superman yet, he should have taken the fight out of the city, or that's not my Lex Luthor and stuff like that. I've only had to wait. You get to the end of this film, and you're seeing the Lex Luthor you would see in the comics manipulating people on his boat. You're getting Kevin Costner's character going from saying, "Oh yeah, maybe you should have let them die because I'm your dad, and I'd rather, as selfish as it is, I'd rather someone else's children die than my kid get found out for what he is and get tested on or whatever," to him being there, fly son, it's time. You've got that, people have only had to wait. Like Snyder was saying for ages, like his film was like his story was a 5-film arc. And when you got to the end, you were going to get the characters you'd see in the comic books or you've seen in these other films. But if you start there, then where do you go? You've got no story to tell.
If you start there, you've got no character development.
Yeah.
What annoys me as well is that people not believing that, saying Zack didn't have a plan, just throw Darkseid in there just to be like Thanos, like just copy Avengers, etc. It's not like that at all. You just need to understand that Zack did have a plan. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, Darkseid in the comics was before Thanos anyway. Like people just saying, chuck Darkseid in there, copy the Avengers mold, have someone that's just going to take them all out at some point. You've got to be like, well, no, this is a plan. This is actual story. You don't just make this up just to get an extra, I don't know, however much money was extra for the film. You got to say Zack had a plan. You got to follow it through. There was meant to be many more. It's not just an Avengers mold.
No, that's right. And I think he was saying, there's a quote from him saying that he said to the Warner Brothers executives, like, don't try and copy what Marvel are doing, because what they're doing, they're doing better than anyone else. Let's go a different route. Like, and while I think, BVS got bad reviews, lots of people didn't like it for whatever their reasons were.
Martha.
I think if they would have, the Martha bit, but if they'd have just carried on with Snyder's stuff, you would have had a large portion of people that didn't like it, but you'd have had a massive group of passionate fans that would have stuck with it right to the end. Whereas what they've tried to do is change course, and you've just got a huge group of people in the middle that just don't care. I mean, they would have been better off sticking with that one vision and thinking, right, we'll see it through, and if it doesn't pan out the way we want to, then we can start again at the end. And you'd have had the group of people that dislike it, and they'd have been vocal, and then you'd have had the group of people like us that love the stuff that he was doing. Yeah. But at the minute, DC just seem to have a huge chunk of people in the middle that just go, well, you know what, I don't really care about the stuff that you announced. And that's I like the Marvel stuff, but as a DC fan, it's just like, it's heartbreaking really to sit there and just see them, throwing darts at a board and seeing which one's going to stick. It's no good. They should have just followed course, and that they would have, you'd have had the people that gone, oh no, that's too dark, or that's too this, or that's too that. But then you'd have had a huge chunk of people that were just going, no, like, I love this shit, like, and I'm going to be there for it every time you stick something out.
Yeah, I think they're afraid. I think they're just afraid of spending money on stuff. They should know by now what works and what don't work in the film industry, and it's just like, you ain't going to bring in some mediocre character you've never heard of in the comics, done 3 episodes, and it's like, you've got to stick to the main guns. There's still a lot of other main guns to get out there. We want to see Black Adam's one of them, and some others.
Of course, yeah.
I think they need to now, with everything that's gone on, especially the last 12 months, realise the risk's worth paying off, and they must be listening to the fans to see, look, this stuff he's going to sell. Let's make
It's too much chopping and changing. I think with DC, which is the frustrating thing. I'm not saying that having a new Superman, if it is going to be Val-Zod or whoever it's going to be, everyone wants to still see Henry Cavill do it. All right, yes, we're getting the Pattinson Batman, great. We want to see a universe like that, but people still want to see the Affleck one. Aquaman seems to be sticking, which is good, because that was absolutely superb. And in the Flash, it's been chopped and changed all over the place, isn't it? And again, it's disappointing that rumours that you're hearing that, if they're going to get rid of it, if Keaton's not going to be able to do it because of the pandemic, then they're going to have to change the storyline again. And then Wonder Woman, it done well, but the second one's not been as well received as the first one, which I thought both films were good though. But yeah, I just don't like the way DC just chop and change things. As you said, Paul, they've got to just stick with that plan. Stick with Snyder's verse, see where it ends up. The fans, obviously, you saw the records that went through HBO when it dropped, and the same over in for us with Sky Cinema, etc. Oh, sorry, Sky Cinema. Yeah. It just basically just went so high. Now they're thinking, well, shit, actually people do want to see it. So I'm hoping, I've got faith that they will and they'll continue with it, but it's just fingers crossed everyone just keep that trend going.
They need to learn to just kind of let their filmmakers have free reign with the films that they're making, because when they released BVS, like you said, it kind of got a lot of hate and stuff like that. But then when they released the Ultimate Edition with another 30 minutes of what Snyder had in the film, which they cut out, the reviews drastically changed. People were saying, oh, this is a different film. There's so much that's been explained in this film now in the extra half an hour. They kind of need to learn from that and just understand, these people kind of know what they're doing. They're filmmakers. It's what they do. That's kind of why we hired them. Let's just let them make the film they want to make. And then obviously it pays off. Same thing with the Joker film. It was all kind of umming and ahhing about that, or should we do it? Should it be rated R? Then it comes out and smashes $1 billion. So
yeah, that's the part I don't get. You hire a director like Zack Snyder, and it's not his first film, so you've seen the stuff he's done before. You've seen Watchmen, you've seen Sucker Punch. You know what you're going to get. So you hire him to do a job, and then you tie one of his hands behind his back. I just can't wrap my head around like why that's like a football manager buying Cristiano Ronaldo, breaking his ankle at half time, and then complaining he didn't score a hat trick for you. Like I really don't understand how you can get him in there. Oh, please do what you do, Zach, and then start saying, yeah, but we also want you to do this, and we also want you to do this, and we also want you to take that out when that's not his style, and then complain the film's not very good.
I completely agree with that.
I just found that in quick 7 minutes.
Yeah, going to what Tommy said quickly. You like you said, you do hire Zach knowing what tonally and visually it's going to look like. Like Watchmen, 300, etc. They've all got the Zack Snyder stamp on it. So people complaining and breaking down every little bit that was bad. Sometimes you just got to look at it, like the scene where Arthur's walking down the pier. Everyone's like, why is he chucking the bottle? Why does he keep getting undressed and leaving his clothes everywhere? But in comics, you don't just keep reading without looking at the art and appreciating how stunning visually it is. You just got to take a moment and think, that's a really cool scene. It might not mean nothing. It doesn't need to mean anything.
Yeah, and I think he's at the moment. I think he's the best at that. Go on, Charlie. Go on.
Yeah, no, I was going to say that's something that Zack does so well. Like I said earlier, with that shot of the Justice League together, and then the shot of Batman on the gargoyle when he's meeting Commissioner Gordon. Again, like the Aquaman shot when he's walking towards the end of the pier and you've got all the sea crashing around him. He does these shots that are so iconic that it suits a comic book film so well because it is like he's framing a comic book panel. Like every shot is like a work of art. And again, going back to what you said earlier, when the boom tube comes and like the whole league is standing there staring at Darkseid, and you've got Darkseid, Desaad, and Granny Goodness staring back at them. There's a couple of shots there of Superman and Wonder Woman. I think I sent them to you, Tom. It looks like a painting, like it's an absolute work of art, how well it's framed and how well it's shot, that you're just like, how can people not love this?
Yeah, and I think that's the big distinction at the minute between the DC and the Marvel films. Like, not to like bash on Marvel because I like a lot of their films, but they all, probably with the exception of Guardians of the Galaxy, they all really look the same. Like you couldn't put one on and say, oh, that's obviously a so-and-so film. He's directed that. Or whereas you stick on Man of Steel, you stick on BVS, you stick on Justice League. If you didn't know who directed it, you could guess within the first 5 minutes who directed those films because they got a really distinct style. Whereas with the Marvel ones, because they've built this massive universe, again, bar probably Guardians of the Galaxy, they all pretty much look the same. And I think that like DC should have lent into that. They should have said, look, we've got our stuff going on. Yeah, okay, we're not going to build a universe as big or as popular as Marvel, although I prefer the DC films. They should have just, sort of stuck their course.
Yeah.
There's no stopping them doing that, though, Tom. That's the thing. They could have done that. There's so many characters to choose from. The Lanterns got hinted at massively in the Snyder Cut. Everyone wants to see Hal Jordan. So John Stewart. Everyone wants to see those characters. He
filmed them as well. Like he filmed them, and they told him no. I just that's just baffling to me. Like considering, they've got the Flash TV show and they're going to have the Flash film. Like I don't think they put enough faith in the audience. They must assume that we're all stupid and we're not going to be able to tell the difference if they want to do a.
And they put Ezra in the episode of The Flash, you remember?
Yeah.
In the Crisis episode.
So they released that interview a little while ago from that Ann Sarnoff. I'm not sure what her job is. I think she's the head of Warner Media or something like that, where she's going on about we're going to embrace the multiverse and stuff like that, while simultaneously saying we're done with the Snyder stuff.
Yeah.
I can't. If you could quite easily have his stuff and just claim it to be, well, this is this Earth, this is this universe, and we've still got all this stuff going on. You can. Yeah. It's giving yourself a license to print money, and I think if they don't want to do anything with the Snyder stuff, that goes beyond like a business decision. That's a personal decision. That's because they don't want to work with him, because all they're doing is just cutting themselves away from making money that's going to be easy money at the end of the day.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, we got 2 minutes 50 seconds. So if anyone wants to throw anything in before we end, let's go for it.
What's crazy is I don't think scratch the surface.
Absolutely. That's the thing. We've hardly actually spoke about the film. We just spoke about everything surrounding the film. The only thing I did want to say was the scene of Batman looking for Aquaman. Like finally getting to see him sort of walking across all those like glaciers and that, and he's got his horse and everything. That was one of the first shots of the first trailer in like 2017, and I think that's just another thing that's so good to be able to finally see after waiting so long to see that Batman didn't just randomly turn up. Like he's had to make this like massive trek to try and find this person that they call the Aquaman. I think that was good to finally
they
see.
made a little comment about that, didn't they? When the bloke was saying, they said, "How did he get here? There's no helicopters flying, or there's no boats." And they said, "Oh, he said he climbed over the mountain." The bloke was like, "No chance." And you're like, "That's Batman, mate." Like,
I think that whole scene kind of reminded me of Batman Begins as well. You know, when with like the Ra's al Ghul thing, where the guy's pretending to be him, and you've got Liam Neeson kind of translating for him. I think that gave me those vibes.
Well, now that's about 40 seconds, so we'll wrap it up. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. We'll all take over every week. Thanks for joining in our first episode of The Age of Heroes. Subscribe to our channel. Tell your friends, tell your family. We're going to get this on a podcast as well, so you can have a little listen. But yeah, thank you, everyone. Again, who are you?
Thank you.
Lovely. Thanks, everyone, for watching and listening, hopefully.
Cheers, Charlie.
See you all guys soon. Peace out.
Take it easy.
Bye, guys.
See you guys.
Bye.
Yeah. See you
Catch
soon.
you next week.
Bye. See you on the next one.
Yeah, see you on the next one.